At your age, I was running to school with a 50-kilo weight in my backpack across a paddock full of Indies. How often have you heard this or something like it? Teenagers are constantly told they've got it easy. HavocJournal.com documents that professionals in areas such as sleep, medicine, and psychology all agree that teenagers need more sleep than any other age group. Teenagers are going through the most significant developmental changes in life and are still told to get up earlier and not be so lazy. We've been raised without knowing a world where technology doesn't exist, causing higher anxiety and depression. We're expected to do good in school, set the bar high for ourselves in sports, and even expected to hold down a job. This is why I completely refute the claim that teenagers these days have it easy. According to highly qualified pediatrician Michael Crosetti, teenagers need 9 to 9.5 hours of sleep every night, an hour or so more than we need when we're 10. Why is this so? Crosetti explains this is due to a second developmental phase of mental maturing. Additional sleep supports our developing brain, along with providing for our physical growth. It also helps protect us from severe consequences including depression or actions leading to drug usage. Laura Sterney, MD, states teenagers experience a natural sleep schedule shift, making it more difficult for them to fall asleep before 11 p.m. Getting a longer amount of sleep, which is much harder for teens, results in an increase in homework, extracurricular activities, and jobs. However, through all of this, we're being told to stop sleeping and get up earlier. We want to too. Sleeping in when we know we should have gotten up earlier frustrates us, because we need it and we can't have it. And it only makes it even harder when people tell us we need to sleep less or wake up earlier. A study conducted by the University of Athena Institute records that 20% of teenagers surveyed have low self-esteem, related to anxiety, depression, education stress, and suicidal ideation. Their self-esteem was associated with thoughts relating to their parents' education level, their parents' employment status, school performance, and grades, as well as obesity. Low self-esteem is typically caused by high expectations or idealistic goals of oneself, leading to distress when it becomes apparent that expectations cannot be achieved. With more than 90% of teenagers using social media daily, we're exposed to many unrealistic standards, which after a while we subliminally set for ourselves. Once we snap back to the real world, our hopes have been set in stone. Whether it's that six-pack workout that you only have to do for 5 minutes a day to get rock-hard abs, or the perfect grades we see from others, our self-esteem is more often than not shattered when we can't achieve our idealistic goals. Social media and the internet douse us adolescents in standards that are completely unhealthy and persuade us they're feasible. This makes our lives more difficult as we continue to strive for an image that isn't realistic. Research made by CNBC.com shows that 35% of teenagers are in the workforce today, as opposed to the 60% of teens in the 1970s. Instantly, this statistic can cause one to think of how lazy and uncommitted teens must be compared to when I was a kid. However, Lauren Bauer states that teenagers are working harder than ever. She backs this up by showing that teens are enrolled in school and, quote, graduation rates are way up, unquote. According to her study, teens committing to work and school spend less time at school as opposed to those who don't have a job. The research also shows that prioritizing education over early work experience can increase the prospect of a good future job outcome. However, teens are being labeled as slackers for not entering the workforce early. Education is the most important aspect of a young adult's life, and work gets in the way. Everyone has to go through school, and according to everyone who graduated before the turn of the century, teens these days have it easy at school. With everything at our fingertips, you'd think school would be an absolute breeze. However, with the job market being more competitive than ever, colleges are too, with high school following the trend. Therefore, the jobs are dominated by the adults, who've passed high school and are higher educated than us. Let's just consider that we do have it easy. We're supplied with technologies such as cars, phones, and computers that allow us to connect with people around the world. With our sense of belonging being driven by relationships, we see this as a perfect opportunity to contact our friends of friends, and even our parents' friends. Obviously, adults didn't have these privileges at their age, and with these new technologies, a lot more information is being pushed onto us, and it's a lot to take in. The entire idea of technology is applying scientific knowledge to improve the efficiency of people's tasks. Technology is used for everything and everyone has access to it. Should teens really be targeted for living too easy of a life if everyone else has access and uses the same technology as we do? Being raised in this digital age has caused teens to exhibit more care towards others. More so than any other generation before, Generation Me teens seem to be more respectful and inclusive of diversity of many kinds. As a result, we reject offensive speech more than any early generations, and are derided for our fragility. Older generations belittle this fragility, hence the name the Snowflake Generation. The Collins Dictionary added the term into the dictionary defined as the young adults of the 2010s viewed as being less resilient and more prone to taking offense than previous generations. Another website's headline is, "Who is the Snowflake Generation and why are they so fun to hate?" I don't know about you, but that doesn't seem like the way to fix any supposed fragility, and it doesn't make anyone's lives any easier. All this does is create a boundary for positive relationships between generations, which are arguably only there to create separation. I couldn't find proof that suggests one generation is lazier or has an easier life than any other generation. This is because the proof does not exist. Teens today are no lazier than those of the previous generations and do not have it easier. We are, however, told how we are, endlessly and relentlessly, to the point where we and everyone else are beginning to believe it. Previous generations often confused teens having an easy life with teens having a physically unlaborious life. With the rise of technology, human lives have become more automated than ever. Although this means less physical work, it doesn't mean easier work. Military.com states that lots of mental and physical work can be as tiring as the other, but to fight off the long-term effects of stress, you should do something physical if you're mentally stressed. With teens having to do much mental work with school, while being busy overthinking every second thing that anyone says or does to us, we find ourselves exhausted, or burnt out too often, leading to negative stress disorders, which only make everyone's lives harder. So there, I've given you enough evidence to refute the claim that teens have easy lives. We're undergoing the most profound developmental changes of our lives, yet are nevertheless advised to get up earlier and stop being so sluggish. We've never known a world without technology contributing to our increased anxiety and despair, only making our lives more difficult. We set high standards in sport, are expected to accomplish well in school, and do an after-school job on the side. Just because we don't have to eat a handful of gravel every night like our grandparents, doesn't mean we have it easy. We're going through struggles every day like everyone. Everyone has their own unique challenges, and nobody's lives are easy. Let's start making others' lives easy, by not playing down everybody else's challenges, however small they may seem.